You guys wanted to know how I got my base to look like this when my skin actually looks like this. First things first, let's look at the basic color zones of the face. This is going to help us determine what color to use and how much of it. We actually have different undertones and hues all over our face, but because it's so subtle, sometimes it gets difficult to notice. NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray, I'm going to be using this product a lot throughout the tutorial, spraying it all over my face and patting it in before I even put on any makeup at all. You have to make sure it is completely dry, okay? When this stuff dries down, I swear to you, it is tackier than even the Hydro Grip Primer. I'll be using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in a shade lighter than my skin tone. I personally prefer to use a loose pigment or eyeshadow to control the hue of my concealer. However, LA Girl does have color correctors and you can just buy those instead. As you can see here, I subtly changed the hue of the concealer from peach to yellow. I like to use a pale yellow to tackle the darkest spots first. Because the concealer I made is a shade lighter than my skin tone, it lifts the darkness in the red spots. Dark red spots like this means that there's an excess of blue, so I'm using the yellow to kind of counter that. After targeting the dark red spots, I'm gonna go in and gently tap it in. You might not be able to cover the dark red spots completely, but don't put on another layer of concealer. We're working in very thin layers to build up the coverage without the cakiness. As for color mixing your concealer, if you have a skin tone like me, the forehead can take a lot of yellows, the mid-face can take a slightly peachier yellow, and your lower face can be anywhere in between those two colors. Similar concept for medium, deep to very deep skin tones as well. Except for instead of pale yellow like me, you want to shift it over to peachy and more orange tones and a lot more saturation. Reason being, more melanin just needs more pigment. I have a scab texture here, and when you're working with areas like this, you have to be patient. I'm being very precise in my layers and just very gently patting it in with my ring finger. You guys can see here how easy it is to cover up the darkness of the red spots with this yellow base concealer. I'm painting on a thin layer and then tapping, painting on a thin layer, tapping, and repeating. Like I said before, it's a lot of layering. Look at how that spot just disappears. You gotta trust the process! My under eyes are kind of like a desaturated reddish purple, so I can get away with using a yellow concealer to cover it up. I know you guys thought it was really weird in my last color correction video when I was talking about color theory and why I was using yellow to color correct this area, but you know what? Colors don't even exist, so life is hard. And colors are weird. Anyway, I'm just layering some peach and yellow concealers here because different areas of the eye bags have different colors. The corners of my mouth have some discoloration and it's kind of greenish yellow, so I'm using a peach concealer here to kind of counter that. Round 2 of the setting spray. Same concept as the first step, except now we're working on the medium red tones. I have a lot of redness and texture, but I don't want to cover up all of the redness. That's why you can kind of see me stippling it on in certain areas and leaving some areas blank. I'm doing it this way because allowing some of your natural discoloration to peek through is what's really going to make it look like skin. Just try your best not to cover all of the redness that you see. Okay, so the nostril area of your nose, everybody knows, hates makeup. I'm applying on both sides of the crease, but not in the crease itself. This is going to give you coverage in that area without all the product buildup. Okay, setting spray round 3, just to marry everything together and make it look like skin. Now I'm just going in and fine-tuning everything. Last step is setting powder. I'm picking it up with a powder puff and then taking off the excess on the back of my hand. Setting with a powder puff does actually make a difference on your under eye. I'm next to a window, so this is what it looks like in natural daylight. It was kind of gloomy in LA today, so that's why it looks like this. And this is what it looks like with flash. If you made it to the end of this video, congrats. You probably have enough patience to actually try this out.